Today we're going to talk about writing expressions. There are several different words that mean the word addition, and they're all listed here for you. There are examples of what it'll look like in words, and then over here on the far right side, it's how it's actually wrote out. So one thing I want to bring your attention to is more than. More than is a turn it around phrase. And what I mean by that is 8 more than W, you're actually going to write the W first and then add 8 to it. So I'm going to draw myself a little card to remind myself that that one is a turn it around phrase. There's 2 of those. So the special word that I really want to bring your attention to is the word sum, and that means it's the answer to an addition problem. The word sum, when it's used in example, it's the sum of z and 9. That plus sign is actually going to go where that and is. So then it looks like z plus 9. Subtraction has all these words that's highlighted here in pink, in this pink box. The special word for subtraction, the answer to a subtraction problem is called difference. And difference works the same way as sum. The minus sign goes where the and is. The other thing I need to bring your attention to is less than. So the example 12, less than B, is wrote out like B minus 12. Again, it's another one of those turn it around phrases. So I'm going to draw myself a little car to remind myself I got to turn around that thing. Multiplication is in my yellow box here. The answer to a multiplication problem is called product. And just like sum and difference, product, the multiplication sign goes where the and is. Now with multiplication, you can use a dot. So you could say x dot y. That dot there is a symbol for multiplication. You could set them side by side, or you could use parentheses to represent multiplication, like x parenthesis y. But you cannot use an x anymore for multiplication because it looks too much like the variable x. The word twice means 2 times. 2 times, so I'm going to put that dot there, 2 times the amount. So twice D means 2 times D. The word of you will also see often in word problems. Of just means to multiply. Whatever number it is, in this case 3/4, so 3/4, and then you could use your times symbol if you want, the dot. So 3/4 of M, your multiply sign goes right there where that word of is. The last operation is division. So the answer to a division problem is called quotient. And the quotient, the divide sign goes where the and is. And in algebra, we use division wrote out like a fraction. So the quotient of y and 3, y goes on the numerator, which is the top part of the fraction, and 3 is in the denominator. The ratio, last year you learned about ratio, and you can write ratio several different ways, but we're going to write it as a fraction for division, x to 7, so x on top, 7 on bottom. Powers, we've talked about powers in the last lesson, but so special words for different types of powers is square, or you could use the word squared with an ed. Like that, squared. So the square of x, or x squared, means x with the exponent of 2. You could also say that same thing as the second power of. It's just squared is a fancy way of saying it. The cube of, or saying something like the cube of r, or simply saying r cubed, would be the exponent of 3. So you need to remember, square is the number 2 as the exponent, cube is the number 3. Those are those special words for that. Now, to go ahead and translate these 4 examples down here, I'm going to zoom in so you can see how I'm translating it. So 3 more than. More than, you could have seen up at the top in the green box. More than means addition. So I'm going to highlight it green because that's what it means, is adding. And I'm going to put a plus sign above it. And it's also a turn it around phrase. So that means we're going to have to remember to go backwards when we write this thing. So 3 more than the product. Product means to multiply. So I'm going to highlight that one yellow just for the purposes of you trying to learn how to do this. And product is the answer to the answer to a multiplication problem, and that answer is going to go where the that multiplication symbol is going to go where the and is. So since it's a turn it around phrase, we have to do that product first. So 6 times x, or I could write it as 6x, and then I'm going to add 3 to it because it's 3 more than this answer. Okay? The next one is 4 times the quantity of x minus 6. Now on your notes that I uploaded, it has a little saying right here, okay? But I'm going to write it down here. Quantity means to use parentheses. So quantity means to use parentheses anytime you see that word. So 4 times means to multiply, so I'm going to highlight it yellow. 4 times, and it says the quantity, so that's cluing you in that you got to use parentheses. And so it tells you what the quantity is. The quantity of x minus 6. Now minus means to subtract, and minus above, I used pink, so I'm going to highlight it pink just to keep it color coordinated. I'm going to put a minus there so I can remind myself when I'm writing it. So as I reread it, I've already got all of my symbols everywhere I need it to be. 4 times the quantity of, oh, there's my parenthesis, x, and minus means to subtract, 6, and I close my parenthesis. That's all I have to do. I'm not asking you to solve it. I'm just asking you to translate it. So the next one more than twice n. If I look above at my chart, you'll see more than on that very first line, and you'll see that it's a turn it around phrase. More than means addition, so I'm going to highlight it green so I can remind myself I'm going to add. And I'm going to put a plus sign up there. The other thing I'm going to do is draw my little car for my turn it around phrase to remind myself I got to go backwards. Twice. Now remember what I told you about twice. You'll find it in the yellow box. It means to multiply. But twice means 2 times that thing, whatever that thing is. And so I'm going to highlight the word twice with yellow because it was in my yellow box. And I'm going to put a 2 there because I got to remember it's 2 times that. And it tells me it's twice n. So n is my variable. That's what I'm going to multiply by 2. So it's a turn it around phrase, so I'm going to start at this side. So 2 times n, and then adding 1 more to it. So that's all I have to do on that one. The last but not least is the sum of 6 and the cube of c. So there's a couple things going on this one. The sum of, remember sum is that special word that means the answer to an addition problem. So I'm going to put a plus sign above it. The sum of 6, that plus sign actually goes where that and is. And the cube of c. Remember the cube means the exponent of 3. So as I write it, it's the sum of 6 and, which is where the plus sign is, the cube of c. So I write c with an exponent of 3. Now on your assignment for this lesson, you're going to see that it says, it's only on the front side on page 1 of homework number 2, so H2. It'll say stuff like this, the difference of 9 and a number n. If that a number is confusing you because it wasn't in the notes, it's just telling you what the variable is. So in this case, the difference means to subtract. So I'm going to highlight that one pink. I'm going to write a minus sign up there. And difference is the answer to a subtraction problem. So that sign is actually going to go where the and is. So I'm going to write the difference of 9. So 9 and, oh, there's my minus sign. A number n, so I just have to write n. If it's confusing you for a number, you can mark out a number if you would like. on all of the front side where it says a number, because it's telling you right after the word a number what letter to use. That's all that's meaning. I hope you have a great day, and I will post the next lesson on Friday, and it will be on the back side of these notes, so it'll be on page 2. Have a good night.